What's going on, guys? My name is Briley Taylor. I own and operate 6 Feet Under Fab. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram and stuff like that. But I've seen a lot of people with YouTube channels start doing podcasts and stuff like that. So I figured I'd give it a shot. So this is my first episode. I have Chris Morris with me today. My podcast that I'm starting is called the Off-Road Obits. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring some people in that have, pretty experienced wheelers in the area around Kinston, North Carolina. Just bring them in the shop and get them to tell some stories and stuff like that. I may get him to interview me one day for a podcast or something like that. But yeah, this is Chris Morris. He one of my good buddies. I met him through the JeepAffair, which is the event that we do here in Kinston, North Carolina. And Chris has been a tremendous help. And through that we've become really good friends. I work on his Jeep. He helped work on mine. And yeah. So what's up, Chris?
What's going on, Riley? Yeah. So he definitely works on my Jeep a lot. I think my XJ's been over here for 6-7 months now.
Hey, this is not what this is about.
His problem is he's got so many projects that unfortunately I have to order things for this and they have to put on the back burner. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, we're gonna get to it.
Yeah.
I promise.
It's coming along good. It looks good.
But so what is this XJ that we're?
So it's a 2000 XJ. Bought it about 2 years ago in Virginia. It looked good at the time. Of course, once you started digging into it, we realized, oh man, it's got a lot of rust. That unibody was ate up pretty bad. You've gone through it and completely torn all that out of there, cut it all out, and redone it. It looks absolutely fantastic. And of course, you can see all that on Riley's, 6 Feet Under Fab YouTube channel. So, but
yeah.
I've got the XJ, and then you've done a lot of work on my Gladiator with the lift and everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can honestly say I've never seen rust that bad on a Cherokee. And you drove that home from the...
Yeah, we drove it home. Definitely should not have drove it home, but...
You say it was death wobbling like...
Yeah, it was death wobbling really bad, like really bad. You hit the slightest little bump and it just was going nuts, back and forth, tires. Yeah, it was pretty scary.
That's awesome. So tell me about your Gladiator.
So that's a 22 diesel Gladiator Rubicon. It's you put the 3.5-inch Rock Jock / Core 4x4 lift on it. It rides absolutely amazing. Of course, it has a couple other things: the Synergy steering, Steer Smarts brace, steering brace on it. But it rides so much better than stock. It's unbelievable, and it flexes great. I've been wheeling several times this summer, so I'm ecstatic with it.
Well, that's awesome. And kind of bouncing off what you said, it rides better. That's kind of what surprises me a lot of times. Like, you can buy a brand new Jeep,
yep,
and lift it and appropriately, lift it, 3.5 inches like you did, and then get adjustable control arms, and it'll ride better than it did from the factory. That's nuts to me.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that it's unfortunate that they don't come from the factory like that, but
yeah.
I mean.
But if they did, then it would be boring.
Yeah, and of course it'd put a lot of people out of business. There's a lot of great companies making products for these things, so.
Yeah. And not down in Jeep or anything, but when they make these Jeeps, they make them as affordable as possible. It's like, look at the brand new 4-door Rubicons, like that one at the dealership in town.
Yeah.
I mean, how much was that one? Like $80?
It was $81,000 or $82,000. It's crazy. Now, granted, that one does come with 488 gears from the factory, 35-inch tires.
A winch,
a worn winch, actually. All metal bumpers, front and rear. Basically, to me, Jeep designed those for the individual that has a lot of money. They don't want to take it anywhere. They want it under warranty for everything. And they can buy it and go wheeling. They can go to the beach. And then if anything breaks, they can take it right back to the dealership and be like, here, fix it.
And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's a lot of risk in tearing apart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was tearing apart, like, your Jeep, which is like a $16,000. I don't know how much it was.
$72,000.
Like, at one point in my shop, I had a $72,000 Jeep in a million pieces. Like, all the suspension was out of it, just chilling.
It is kind of scary. And, I mean, it's scary to think that, if anything breaks on it, now I'm responsible because they're not going to warranty it.
Nope.
So...
And that's one reason why I went and got like an LLC for my 6 feet under fab stuff, because heaven forbid, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I could forget something, or knock on wood, heaven forbid that ever happened. But a brake line rub, a spring wrong, and I'm screwed.
Yeah, that would be bad. But
not that you can sue me, I hope not.
No, honestly, I wouldn't. But I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that would.
Yeah. And see, now I'm starting to do a little bit of stuff for people that I don't really know. But before the Gladiator, before the Cherokee, what did you have?
All right. So what really got me into Jeeps was a 2014 four-door JKU. It was a sport. It had no thrills to it at all. It was basically wind-up windows, basic radio. Everything was basic on it. But that really, really got me involved and interested in off-roading. And then, straight from the factory or from the dealership, I bought it, took it home. Then the very next day, took it all the way back when they opened back up, dropped it off, and they installed a 2.5-inch Terraflex lift with 35-inch tires.
Nice.
And of course,
dealership did that.
Yeah, dealership did it. And of course, I thought that was like the greatest thing ever. And since then, I've owned a couple other Jeeps. I've owned 3 Gladiators and 1 JL and 1 JK since then.
And was this wasn't in North Carolina?
No. Actually, I bought that 2014 JKU in North Carolina. Bought it in Cary. But then we moved to Washington State, and we did some wheeling out there.
Did you drive it all the way there?
We drove it all the way there.
Sick.
Yep.
I like that.
And it rode like a Cadillac. It definitely rode better than what the stock suspension was.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. So, what wheeling did you do up in Washington?
There was a couple of parks out there that you could go to and off-road. They were pretty technical. We'd meet up with a bunch of friends and go out there and just kind of play around all day. But, the wheeling out west is completely different than the wheeling here on the East Coast. It's kind of hard to explain it, but the mountains are bigger, the rocks are bigger, it's just a different style of wheeling. And that's what we were doing out there versus, you got a lot of trees and mud, and you do have some rocks here, but it's just a different style. I don't want to say it's easier or it's harder, but
It's different.
Yeah, it's just different. It really is.
I've never wheeled West Coast stuff, so I definitely wouldn't know. The furthest west I've ever been is Windrock.
Okay.
And it's typical East Coast trails.
Yeah. Bigger rocks than I think what we have here, though. Uwari's pretty decent on the front side of Daniel.
Yeah.
I haven't yet experienced that myself, but I am looking forward to doing that hopefully soon.
That'll be the maiden voyage for the Cherokee.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. No lockers. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, you would do it. The Jeep door panels probably wouldn't like it.
That's okay. I mean, it's an XJ.
Yeah.
It's built for that. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Are you going to be able to tow it with your Gladiator? Is that what you're...
Honestly, that's kind of the plan. I do need to find a trailer or find, I don't know, maybe a friend that has a trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could definitely tow that with the Gladiator. I towed an S10 not long ago, and it towed it like it was not even there. So that's probably the plan, just in case, anything does break. just throw it up on the trailer and bring it back.
Yeah. That's nuts that you have a Jeep that, you can take, to your RV, like the Gladiator, and then, like, tow a Cherokee.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
The Gladiator is by far, in my personal opinion, the most versatile off-road rig that is being made right now. It can tow extremely well. At least mine can with the diesel in it. I've gone to the beach about 4 or 5 times this year. Does great in the sand, off-road. Does great on the rocks. Does great in the mud. So I thoroughly enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're the kind of bad influence that made me get a Gladiator.
Yeah, well, it's nice seeing that one riding around too. So
yeah, I mean, it checks a lot of boxes for sure.
It does.
Mine's not diesel, but I mean,
but with that re-gear, I'm sure it livened it up.
Yeah, that changed. That was a game changer for sure. But if I could, have it, a perfect world, mine would be a Rubicon diesel. Because I love the way that yours is. It's like, you can get on it, and it's not like instant. It's like gradual.
Yeah, it does take a little bit.
See, I like that. 'Cause that, you won't break stuff as easy.
That is true. Yeah. You can kind of judge when it's going to come on, all that power, which is nice. But I am curious, I'm running on 37s right now with the 3.5-inch lift. Come around Christmas time, I am looking to go to 40s. I just prepped for that with the Moto-Built Highline inner fenders and the Barnes chop kit. So I'm ready for 40s and then chromoly shafts and 488 gears.
Are you going to do any trussing of the front axle or rear axle?
It probably wouldn't hurt, but for mild wheeling, which is what I do a lot of, I don't think it's necessary right away. If I go to, somewhere like Windrock or Rouse Creek or something like that, then yeah, definitely I'll probably see gusset and truss the.
Yeah. I was just looking at Barnes 4-wheel drive the other day. The truss kit for your Jeep, your Rubicon Gladiator, and my normal Gladiator, whatever it is, like the truss for it is like $54.
It's super cheap. It's crazy.
But you have to take the whole axle out and do it. I mean, that's every bit of a weekend job because, you have to do the heating and the cooling cycles.
Yep.
Welding.
Yeah, it's definitely involved. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, and this is a little disappointment in Jeep, but that bracket that's on the axle that holds your track bar and it holds a couple other things on there. It's very thin metal for what it's doing, and I'm gonna have to go with like a Barnes kit, which is 1/4 inch, and go ahead and replace that bracket because it's wallowed out and it keeps making noises, and it's really annoying. You have that much money into a Jeep, and then it clanks and pops, and it just sounds worse than what it actually is. I know, and eventually over time, I know it can be unsafe. So.
Especially, you got 2 boys.
Yeah, I don't want anything unsafe with my kids in it. So
that's like, I feel like I became like a better builder and fabricator after I had kids because man, my youngest would be riding this.
Yeah, it makes you think because when you jump in it, it's like whatever, it's cruise on down the road. But when they start getting into it, it's like I don't, do I really want to take this with them in it and take that risk? No, I don't.
I mean, I feel like it made me a better person.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just makes you think a lot more. I guess it makes you worry a lot more.
Yeah. Because, I've ridden around with, Stephen Locklear in, a 96 Nissan Sentra with 1 lug nut on, going to, Taco Bell at, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Just, now, I couldn't imagine doing that.
Well, even, when you tested out the TJ there, and it's just the adults getting in it and at that time, and you're working all the kinks out of it. And you don't really think about it too much, but then when you get back, you're like, ooh, Yeah,
like,
we forgot this, and maybe we should have tightened that up a little bit. You know, just different things like. And it's same with the XJ. I know I'm going to have to take it out and see, what's going on with it, and then bring it back. My kids aren't going to ride in that anytime soon. You know, because we've changed everything on it.
Yeah, it's like whenever I built my Cherokee Beef Cheeks, I didn't let my youngins ride in it for probably 500 miles.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, if anything was going to snap, break, fall off, I wanted it would be like just myself.
Yep, and, I agree.
And then like the first time I took my daughter to school in it, she was begging to ride in it. And I was just like, just give me like, I at least want to do the braking oil on my differentials where I re-geared it. And like after that, if the wheel didn't fall off or, the motor drop out between the frame rails, then, I can ride my youngins.
Yeah.
But luckily that didn't happen. But, so you've been hitting up Virginia a lot. Yeah,
we've been heading up to Virginia. Of course, I've got family up there, so it's convenient for me. So I'll drive up, and then typically either the next day or maybe 2 days afterwards, after we get up there and kind of get rested, we'll go hit the trails. We go up to the mountains, about a 2 hour, 15-minute drive.
Is it like public land? You got to get passes and stuff for it? Or is it
no, so it's actually, there's no passes. I believe it's state-owned where we're going. It's a state park. We're near the Shenandoah Parkway.
What's it called?
Flagpole Knob is where is the trail that we're going on. It's definitely a beginner intermediate trail. It's good for people that, they don't have a lot of experience. They want to learn. It's a perfect trail. A lot of places to pull off and air down or air up. A lot of places that you could just sit there and talk and kind of chill or go over things, how to use your winch, things like that. Very scenic. And of course, one thing I don't like about it is, like, especially around this time, it gets pretty overgrown. So the trails become very narrow. And of course, with a wide Gladiator going down it, a lot of pinstriping. So if you're watching this and you want to go to Flagpole Knob, keep that in mind. You will get some pinstriping down your vehicle.
Is it a busy trail? Or I've never been there.
So during the day, it can't be very busy. And of course, some of the trails, I've been up there when we've had 10 rigs, and it gets pretty hectic, especially if you have oncoming, traffic rigs coming at you.
To, like, veer off and let them go around, and you kind of got.
You kind of have to drive up into the woods a little bit. There are bypass areas where you can pull off, but they're few and far between. So it can be a little bit of a challenge at times. That just makes it more fun when you're out there, I think. But
you ride with a group up there. Who's that?
Yeah, so that's Jeepin' for Fun. My mom and another lady kind of run all that. They do a great job. The woman that runs it, Jackie, she's very experienced. Has a great setup on her rig, and she goes all over the place, from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. We're actually going to be hitting North Carolina, getting Uwharrie up in the end of August.
Okay.
So that's going to be a good time. A big shop up there, OCD Off-Road. They will be coming down with them.
That's your brother-in-law? Or?
That's my sister's boyfriend is one of the shop managers there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's got a really nice two-door JL on 37s. It's got he'll have a 4.5-inch game changer on it. It's a 3.5 right now, and he is going to 40s soon.
Those like 40s on those two-door JLs.
I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like, because I have personally never seen a two-door JL on 40s. So
I mean, everybody builds like a four-door, but like there's not a lot of people that build two doors.
Yeah, you don't see many two doors anymore.
So like when you see them, like you really appreciate them.
Yeah. Of course, just like the TJs and the YJs and everything. But
I got beside it was a two-door Bronco.
Okay.
The other day on the highway. And holy crap!
It's pretty rare to see those too. Most of the time, it's the four doors.
Like, I mean, I was just, it wasn't like crazy lifted. It probably had like factory wheels and like 33-inch BFGs on it, and it was beautiful.
I'm not gonna lie, I really like the Broncos. I know I didn't think I would, but our last event at the JeepAffair, which is now the Off-Road Affair in Overlanding, we had a group out there from Mountains to Metal. Brought a group of Broncos out there, and they were rowdy. They were getting at it, and it really impressed me with actually how capable they were.
Was that blue one? Was it a Raptor Bronco?
It was a Raptor. They had I think they brought 3 or 4 Raptor Broncos.
They took like the weird fenders off the Raptor Bronco and put like some aftermarket.
Yeah, I believe they had aftermarket ones on there, and it was a custom paint job on that blue one.
Man.
And then, of course, Martin with Mountains to Metal he didn't have a Raptor. He had a Bronco, but it was super beefed up.
Yeah.
And very capable. I can't remember if he was on 37s or 40s.
I think it was 37.
37s, yeah. That's typically what you see on the Bronco. I mean, yeah.
It looked like 40s.
Yeah, it was insane. They really impressed me, which is why we opened it up the way we did to everybody. Because we have an appreciation for everything. So
yeah, it's like I'm not tribalistic at all when it comes to off-road rigs. Like I like Tacomas, I like Jeeps, I like Land Rovers. I like everything. I like it if it's got a motor and 4 tires. And, I dig it.
And the weirder the better.
Yeah.
So
it's like. My first truck was a Tacoma, and it saw more mud than a swamp rat, pretty much. But
well, I growing up when I was between 14 and 16 years old, I didn't own any off-road vehicles at that time, but I had a buddy of mine, Adam, that he was into the big F-250s and the F-150s, F-100s, the old Fords, the old Chevys, and he'd jack them up and put them on 40-inch tires, and we'd go out there and rip it in the mud and everything. It was a lot of fun, and that kind of, that sparked my interest. And then as I got older and had the money, I got into the Jeep thing, and so.
Yeah. But back to the off-road affair. Where do you see that going? 10 years down the road. Where do you see that at?
Well, personally, I'd like to see all of Kinston taken over by that event. You have all of your vendors and your food trucks and everything lining the streets, kind of like, the one that happens up there in, I think it's Butler, Pennsylvania, where they take over the entire town. I think that'd be really cool for something like that to hit Kinston. And then all of our off-roading would take place out at the fairgrounds. And then, of course, we'd have food trucks out there, but, keep the vendors and have some of maybe do the show and shine downtown, kind of like our barbecue festival, and then do the off-roading and camping out there at the fairgrounds.
That's exactly where, my head's at on it, too.
Yeah. I know we're a few years off from that, at least, but
I think, we talked about this off camera, but, changing it from JeepAffair to Off-Road Affair, I think it may be weird the first couple of years, but I think after that, once people realize, like, you can bring, like, a full-size Ford Raptor to our course, you can bring, a Jeep, Land Rover, Tacoma, anything, basically anything that has four-wheel drive and occasion seatbelt. I think once people realize that, I think it's going to get bigger and bigger.
It's been awesome just seeing it evolve from, I think I got involved around the second one or right after the second one. And to see how far it's come and how much it's grown, it's really impressive. And adding all the vehicles last year was super cool to see that. And then with the addition of the camping as well it just makes it a lot more fun, especially at night. You get to walk around all the different campsites, talk to everybody.
That was cool.
Yeah, and we're basically doing this without the camera and the mics and everything.
What was the Tacoma dudes, the Overland guys?
So those guys were out of Charlotte, North Carolina, from Queen City Overland, and they I reached out to them, and super cool, laid back bunch of guys, and they said, "Yeah, man, we'll be there." And they ended up bringing 6 rigs with them. We let them set up right there to show everybody, what overlanding was all about. And they went all out. They set everything up. They invited everybody in. They were super cool. They're excited. They want to come back. That's awesome. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Their setups were, you could literally live at that.
Yeah. They're definitely set up to live in for at least a few weeks at a time, minimum. Yeah.
And I think one of the guys was telling me they had just gone to the West Coast or something before that. Maybe it was a year or something.
Yeah, I think they did. I know they do trips all over the place. One place you'll definitely see them, at least this year, will be, I believe they're going to come back in September for our open course day. And then you'll see them at Overland East up in Virginia, which is in October.
Have you ever been to that?
I have. I've been twice, and I'm actually, hopefully, I'll be going this year with Campers Union out of Goldsboro and pulling one of their campers and staying in that, and also talking about the campers while I'm there.
Nice.
So it is rather expensive. It's a great event, but it can be a bit pricey, especially if you stay the night and camp there.
Is there any off-roading, or is it just...
They have a small off-road course there that's, of course, man-made like ours. Nothing like ours. Nothing as crazy as what we do, but it allows people, again, that have very little experience to kind of see what the rigs are capable of.
At least just put it in forward mode.
And just get a feel for it and see if they like it.
Cool. That's way cooler than... I've seen some of these overland events where it's just like a grass field.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of those also. They are fun, but it's a completely different vibe, So.
I got you, man. Well, got anything else?
No, this was great. I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing where this, podcast goes. I think it's going to blow up like your YouTube channel did. So.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But, Chris, I appreciate you riding out to the shop. And I appreciate y'all watching. And hopefully I'll be doing some more off-road Obits. Like I said, I'm going to be getting some off-road guys coming in and talking a little bit about some cool stories like that. You'll definitely see Chris on here again, because he's probably going to be like, "Oh, I forgot to talk about this. I forgot to talk about that."
Actually, one thing I wanted to ask you real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So, how'd you come up with the name?
Off-road Obits.
Yep. Off-road Obits.
Well, I don't know if y'all know, the 6 feet under fab stuff. Like, I work at a funeral home here in town. I'm a funeral director / manager of a funeral home here in town. And so that's kind of where the 6 feet under thing came from. And then the off-road Obits.
I like it.
I don't know.
I like
both start with O.
Yeah.
So, but
it's different. I like it.
But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And we'll see you on the next one.